Hi everybody, I'm back and today we're going to be making these little mini journals. This one is a pretty small one. The one I'm going to make today is a little bit bigger. This one's like when it's closed up 1.5 inches by 1.5 inches. It's tied with a little piece of tea stained lace, and it has some little signatures in there. I had it on a necklace. I took it off so I could show it to you a little bit better. Anyway, that's what we're going to make today. We're going to go over what I sort of have gathered up here to get things started. And so first things, I have some tools. I have some scissors. This is a punch. And I have also some jewelry tools. A couple little clamps. You could use binder clips or anything like that, really. I'll show you what we're going to do with all that stuff. And then I have some templates. Now this is the outside cover of the one I'm going to make today. This cover is 4.5 by 2.25. So that's the cover we're going to make, the size of the cover, and then I'm going to make the signatures inside 3.5 by 1 7/8, and we'll do that. And then this is how I attach the signatures inside the book, so I'll show you that, and it'll be a 2 by 1.5. So I have my material here. This is a piece of leather. Now you can use anything. You can use paper, fabric, certainly, anything. You don't really have to use leather. That's just what I'm using today. I actually got this leather when I was with my husband on vacation. We were in Cherokee, North Carolina, and we were in a shop that had all Native American crafts in there, and art and things, and there was some bags of leather scraps, and I bought this leather in there. It works out good for making these little books. So anyway, that's what I'm going to use today. And like I said, you can use anything. You can use paper, like a heavy paper. You can use fabric, whatever you want. Before I had these leather scraps, I actually had some old wallets that I tore apart and used those, and they weren't real leather, but that's what I used to make my covers. So okay, and I'm gonna get started here. I'm just gonna put my pattern down here, and I have a pencil. I'm just gonna draw around it. I have a pair of leather scissors. If you're working with leather, I recommend you get a pair of leather scissors. It cuts so much better. Get my hand out of the way there. So yeah, my husband and I, a couple years ago, we went on vacation, and we went to the eastern band of the Cherokee reservation, and we spent a week there, and we had a great time. We met some awesome people there. I didn't do a very good job of outlining here. I can't really see my outline. So you always meet people in the unexpected places, right? So we had gone there, and of course, it's pretty commercialized. I'm going to say that in the actual town, a lot of shops and things like that. But there was a lot of cultural stuff, museums, art galleries, things like that. We went to some bonfires where they did some storytelling. And we met a lot of great people there as well. But we had just gone for a ride around, and we stopped at a flea market. We like flea markets and yard sales, things like that. And we stopped at this flea market along the one road. And while we were there, we met some great people there. There was, we went up to one booth, and there was an older Native American lady there, and she was selling some things that she made, some smudge feathers and some other types of things like that. She had little packs of sage and things like that. And while we were talking to her, she had some books over on the one end of her table. And I went over to look at them. They were like little paper books, just made with a, cardstock type cover. And she was telling me that that was those were the stories about her childhood. And I'd say this woman was probably in her 70s, maybe even early 80s. She was an elderly lady. But she got to talking to me about her books and about her life. And it was so interesting. I think that, ordinary people's lives are just as fascinating as celebrity lives and things like that. Celebrity lives don't interest me, but just normal people, regular people, their lives do interest me. Their memories and things are just really something that fascinates me, and how they saw their life. And so I bought several of the books, and I was looking through, and she had probably 15 maybe different stories there in these individual little books. And she pointed out one book there, and she said, this is a book about my papa. And she said, people said he was a scoundrel, but to me he was just my papa. And I thought that was, something really interesting. And of course I wanted to buy the book and read it. And it was just a young girl's perspective on her family and her life and her father, even though he might not have been around as much as he should have been. The lessons that he taught her were valuable to her and for her entire life. And so anyway, I really felt blessed to have met her and get to know her a little bit, and get to know her even a little bit better through her stories. So that was probably one of the things I remember most about our trip, were the people that we met there at that, flea market. Not in the town where there were so many kind of commercial, touristy things, but on the outskirts of town where, the people were not there to tell you stories, not to give you history, but did it in their own way. And it was really something I'm really glad I didn't miss out on. So anyway, so on we go after my little story there. But so I'm going to punch some holes in this. Now this other one that I have, this little small one, I have some grommets in there. I'm not going to put grommets in this one because you don't want to hear me pounding on the table. So I'm not going to put grommets in, and you don't have to. It works just as well without the grommets. So this punch works pretty good. I'm eyeballing it. I'm not a measurer. So So, just gonna eyeball it. And that'll work for me. You don't have to have one of these punches. You can, you know, before I got one of these punches, I had just an awl that I made a hole with. So, you don't have to have a bunch of fancy tools. You really don't. I've gotten these over time. I'm going to punch a hole at the top here in the spine part of it so I can hang it on a charm or keychain or whatever. So again, like I said, I'm kind of eyeballing it. Okay. I didn't do too good cutting that one through. You may see my little puppy and my kitty running around here making noise. They've been awful full of themselves this morning. That's for sure. Rosie found a paper plate and she's been tearing it up all over the living room, but I'm just going to let her do it because it's keeping her busy. I can always clean it up. Okay, so that's the cover part. Pretty simple. Now I have some paper already torn here for the signatures. And like I said, these were 3 1/4 by 1 7/8. That's what works for me for this size of cover. You can adjust it to however it works for you. And I just rip the paper. I make a signature that has like three sheets, and when you fold it, of course, it's 6. If it's a little bit big or small or whatever, it doesn't matter. I don't get excited about stuff. All works out in the end. So I have the 3 pieces, just fold them in half. Now you can do it several different ways. You can tie them, you can sew them together. I'm going to just staple these. My fancy stapler. Like I said, I have 2 other ones already done here. So you don't have to sit there watching me tear paper. Okay. Alright, so there's my 3 signatures. I'll fit right inside here. Might want to trim some of that sticking out on the end there. But you can make adjustments however you need to. Now this part, this is how I attach the signatures into the book. You can maybe have a better way or a different way that you'd rather use, but this is the way I do it. Like I said, this little piece of paper is 2 1/2 by 1 1/2. I'm going to put it down on my little score buddy here. Popped right out. And I'm going to, at the 1/2 inch mark, make a score. And then I'm going to make one at the 1/4 mark. And I'm going to leave a 1/2 inch on the end as well. You can see it. I don't know if you can see it in the light there. I'm going to fold it like an accordion on those score lines. So you have this little thing right here. Now I'm going to glue this so that I have these signatures there it is. I'm going to glue these signatures together with this so it has a band. And that's the way I'm going to glue it into the book. So I'm going to put some glue on here. You can use any kind of glue you think will hold. This is clear tacky glue. Sorry, I'm trying not to go off the camera here. Okay. I'll push it on there pretty good. Try to line them up a little bit. And then that's when I put some clamps on it to dry it, let it dry. I have one over here that's already dry, so we'll go on with that. Just clamp it together. Set it aside, let it dry. And then I have one here. This one's made with a bunch of different kinds of paper. And then what you're going to do is, where's my hole at? Okay. Make sure your hole's at the top, the one that's on the spine if you want to hang it or anything. You don't have to put that there if you don't want to. Okay, so I'm going to open it up like this. It's the first 2 pages. I'm going to open it up. And I'm going to put my glue on here. And that's how I'm going to glue it into my book. I'm going to use Fabri-Tac for this, I think. That usually works a little bit better. Got a nice glob of glue there. Apparently the puppy and the kitty have decided that they're going to take a break. And that's good because they've been pretty rascally all morning long. They really have. They have a love-hate relationship. One minute they're all curled up together taking a nap, and the next minute they're fighting. But they don't really, they're not really hurting each other. It sounds like they're, you know, they are, but they're not really hurting each other. They're just rustling around and playing. But Rosie is weighs 4.5 pounds, and she thinks she weighs 100 pounds. I'll just tell you that. The way she growls and carries on. So I'm just going to line it up with the middle there the best I can. Move it down. And then I'm just going to put a little thing, a couple little clamps here to hold it together. Set that aside, let it dry. If you need to trim it up, see, I didn't match it up very good right there. So I'll just trim it up with the scissors. It's not that big of a deal. I might be able to fix it. Yeah, it's a little bit better. Okay, so there's your good start for your little book or little journal. I'm going to come back in the next video here. I'm going to make shortly, and we're going to do some decorating. We're going to decorate the cover, and we'll probably make it into a like a charm or purse charm type of thing, something like that you can hang on your purse or keychain. But anyway, so I gathered up a bunch of little doodads. I have all kinds of different things, some pieces of broken jewelry, some gears, and I have feathers, I have some wire, I have some little flat back gems, I have lace, and some fibers. I just put whatever in this box and go from there. So I'm going to come back and we'll work on that. So I hope that everybody's having a great day, and I will see you soon. Okay, bye now.